Man, how time flies. Our little Pixel 6, believe it or not guys, was born 6 months ago. We blinked and before we knew it, it's now older and also admittedly less exciting than before. Because, you know, it has a few new siblings on the way and all the attention is over there. But it's your birthday, Pixel 6. We're here to talk about you, the things we're proud of, the good parts, as well as the other things that shall go unnamed. Actually, we're going to talk about them anyway because in this video, I'm going to share with you what's still hot and what's still not about this little 6-month-old, and also do a little live demo on how it performs with the latest April update. And I do this because so that you can decide whether you should take the jump or not in May of 2022 for your very own bundle of joy. So let's do it after these messages. And oh yes, before we proceed, I want to disclaim that this is an unsponsored video. It's my very own device that I bought with my own cash. It's running on the latest April security update, and it's also unlocked, but not rooted whatsoever. Now, in case you haven't heard, the Pixel 6 has had its fair share of issues and detractors in the past few months, and the latter partly due to said issues, as well as partly because, well, let's face it, there will always be die-hard Apple or Samsung fans out there who can't seem to understand the idea of mutual coexistence. But really, is it a good phone for 600 bucks? I will unequivocally say yes, very good in fact. And this is partly due to the fact that I personally haven't seen or experienced any of the major bugs that have been making the headlines. You know, like the big ticket items like Wi-Fi dropouts or 5G connectivity issues, slow fingerprint sensors, green tinted screens, ghost calling, heat related performance hits. So I can say that upgrading from my favorite Pixel 2 XL was a good move. And judging from most of the commenters on my previous videos of the 6, we share the same experience, for the most part anyway. But that's not to say that my Pixel 6 has been glitch-free in the last few months. Let's talk about those for a sec. The most prominent one, as well as the most annoying, has been how notification sounds would randomly get changed without warning ever since I did the April update. Android, for some reason in this case, would alter whichever default notification tone you've set and then change it to some kind of 4-digit number that is not recognized by the phone itself, and in the process, worst of all, also kills notifications for things like text messages or calendar reminders. I've missed many important texts over the weeks because of this, but thankfully there's a quick fix. You just had to go back into settings and then reselect your previous tone or new sound altogether. That seems to solve the problem. And that being said, it seems that this problem is not exclusive to just the 6. I'm also aware that it affects the rest of the Pixel line too. So I've had the camera overheat warning happen to me too, guys, but in this case, just once. Yes, once. And I say that this occurrence also counts as a glitch because the warning came up not because of heavy camera usage or high ambient temperature or some kind of failure. In fact, this is what happened. I woke up one morning, cold winter's day, 52 degrees downstairs, cold launched the app, and the warning popped up 3 times in a row. I'm not sure what happened there, but I solved it by rebooting it, and I've not encountered that warning ever since. The last glitch since the days of my Pixel 2 XL, connectivity when switching between Bluetooth devices have been kinda iffy. And I'm not sure if it's unique to my user case alone of using my phones to, ideally anyway, test earbuds and headphones, moving between listening to music and then recording with the recorder app, phone call mic audio, and then back again. And I say ideally because randomly, sometimes a Bluetooth recording will just not work. It will just stop and I have to reboot the phone to restore it. Am I alone on this one, or do any of you out there have the same problem? Please comment down below and let us know. Now, those glitches aside, 6 months in, using this phone has been smooth and fuss-free. So in this next part, I'm going to show you what that is like, what that means, how the Google Pixel 6 is to use on a daily, regular basis with some of your more common apps in real time. I'm going to try my best not to do any cuts, but you know I am a perfectionist. If I say something wrong, I'm going to try my best basically. And so again, I mentioned earlier, this is running April security update with Android 12 with Material U. And in case you're not sure what Material U is basically dynamic theming to match your wallpaper or wallpapers. And in this case, we have a live wallpaper that surprisingly only does like 2 to 3% extra battery consumption on per charge. That's pretty darn impressive. So I'm just leaving it on nowadays Mostly brown on this wallpaper, so you can see some of the icons that do support it, which is really Google apps have that color, as you can see right here. I wish there was more standardization. You can see it's kind of disjointed. Some apps or most apps don't have it just yet. You can see the tiles match that color as well as the font in the notifications. If I swap out to a different wallpaper like this turquoise, you can see everything turns blue, so do the tiles and the text. If I swap it back, boom, look at this. Pretty darn fun and dynamic. If you don't like the color recommendations, you can always change it out to different ones or just use your primary colors, which is nice. And I think Android 13 adds more color options as well. One thing I need to do is clear out all the background apps so that we clear all the RAM and you have a better impression of how quickly or not apps launch. But I'll tell you what, this thing is smooth as butter. It's really convenient. I can swipe, see how fast that is. Look through this app drawer, look how quick this thing is. And especially if in Google Photos, once it's preloaded, this thing is super fast and smooth. And one thing that you don't see very often being demonstrated is the Tensor chip, or talked about anyway. This thing works so fast in the background when you do edits, especially with more intensive ones like you know, Magic Eraser and things like that requires background processing. With Tensor, it is so fast and so convenient, it's not even funny. And where it also works really well is in the camera app. Let me demo this real quick, bring in some little table models first, and then we can see this. One thing I would like to see in Gcam is a setting where Google allows us to resume from the previous mode we've used, because every time you co-launch it or whatever, this thing always starts in camera mode. That would have been a little nice thing to have. So here we are in regular, not zoomed, unzoomed mode. And if you zoom in, this is the regular, this is zoomed in twice, and then this is wide angle. You notice that little judder right there? That's the transition to wide angle. It's not as bad as the Pro, but it's something to take note of if you care about, you know, user impressions and such. It doesn't affect performance or the final photo, but you see there's that little jarring shift. And you can also see in the viewfinder how it matches the color of the table right here. It is pretty darn good. Let me zoom in and you can see that it matches pretty close. It's a little bit warmer maybe and a little yellow push, but it is pretty darn close to reality, which is nice. In the video, it does the same thing. And in all these modes, if you want to get to quick settings, it's really easy. You swipe down and there you go. You can switch out to, you know, 1080p, different frame rates. If you want more settings, you just tap the more settings button and it's all very self-explanatory. Back out here, you can change out in video mode the different video stabilizations. This is something new in Android 12 and also the Pixel 6. And something new in the Pixel 6 that's, I think, slowly rolling out to the other Pixel lines is action pan and long exposure. If you want some samples of that, check out some of my other videos on top. The other one I want to check out is Instagram. So here we are, we launched that. See how quick that is? And then, hey, Michelle Yeoh, have you seen that movie? That was pretty cool. Everything, Everywhere at Once, I think that's what it's called. But yeah, scrolling this through this is nice and smooth, especially once it's preloaded. Obviously, my internet is not too hot for some reason right now. But you see, it's really smooth. There is barely any judder, especially with this 90 Hertz screen. It is nice and smooth. Check that out. So cool. The other one I want to check out is TikTok, and some have mentioned, where are you, TikTok? Some of you have mentioned that if you use TikTok too often or too long, the background or the phone and the back gets really warm or hot. I'm not sure if Google launched this on purpose in the winter time because they were trying to avoid that problem, but it does get a little bit warm, but it doesn't cause overheating problems or any kind of stuttering, you know, based on throttling back and such. But as you can see, once it's preloaded, it is nice and fat. What the heck? Oh, okay. Anyways, what the heck? No. Let's move on to that one. Not that one either, and definitely not that one. Sorry, guys. But that's TikTok in a gist, and I want to show you also another game, Legends of Runeterra. Any of you like play this? Let me know. But this is really cool. Let's see if the volume is down. Launching this is pretty fast. It's not a really graphically intensive game, but it is known that in lesser models or lesser chipsets, transitions between the screens and such can be stuttery. I've experienced this with the other phones that I've tested and even my tablets. And in this one, it's very fast. Oh, right now it's doing some kind of update, so bear in mind. The screen, as you can see, is really punchy. The colors are solid. And right now I have this set at 3/4 up, and this is at maximum brightness. there you go. It is very strong outdoors in bright sunlight. It is perfectly visible. It doesn't beat, you know, like Samsung's and OnePlus's with 1000+ nits, but this is nice and solid. So let's see if we can get some transitions here. I think it's a little bit too bright in it. Like we're a little bit overexposed. Can see right here. So that little transition right there usually judders on or shakes on and stutters in other lesser phones. But it is nice and smooth here, combined with the 90 Hz screen. It is pretty darn awesome. Check that out. Let me see if I can crank up the volume. You can hear this again. Yeah, got some battle rewards. Let's see what I want. Maybe that one. That's the cheapest one. And then you can do battle right here. Do any of you all play this? I love this game. This is one of my favorite card games right now that beats out, like, you know, not Lord of the Rings, Magic the Gathering, and even, what's the other one? I totally forgot. This, I've been so immersed in this one. This is pretty darn cool. It's so easy to play and pick up, and they even have, like, you know, adventures they can go on, like campaigns and such like that. It's pretty darn cool with different characters. It's a lot of rewards right here. But anyways, this is Legends of Runeterra. I'm not gonna go back there. Let's cancel out that one. I want to show you Facebook real quick. Let's escape out of this one. Now, this is a really common app also, obviously, but you know, my son says nobody uses it anymore. But once it's preloaded, it is okay. This is not the fastest of those apps. Facebook has always been, like, you know, kind of not very efficient in that way, but you see, it's pretty darn smooth as it is. Now, the other thing I want to show you too is settings, and this is where, you know, you see material use itself too, the colors match, and searching for settings now, or searching for different things, is so much faster than before, and kind of mimics Samsung's, which I really like, because Samsung's you can search for the different settings, as well as they will provide you hints of what to do next, and now Google does that as well. So it's pretty darn quick and quite powerful. And one thing I want to show you is, just in case you're doubting this about phone, we're on Android 12 right there. And by the way, in case you didn't know how to activate developer settings to get more out of your phone, you have to tap build number 5 times, and then you can access what they call developer options right here. And here you can change out you know, your screen speed, change out your Bluetooth, check those things, and you know, that's really convenient. So this is the settings in a nutshell, guys. It's for power users among you who like to tweak with things or just want to troubleshoot. It's just as powerful as before, but made a whole lot better with a better search bar, in my opinion. It's so much quicker in finding things nowadays, and kind of sort of helps you out. The other thing I want to show you that I haven't yet is the tap function that I mentioned in one of my videos, or they call it quick taps here. So on the back of the phone, right here is the sweet spot. If you double tap it, it will quick launch whatever thing you set to. Right now it's Google Assistant or any app that you want or like cameras and such like that. Pretty darn cool. So let me try to demo, get back out of settings, and you see double tap and it launches Google Assistant. So that's really nice. I came from a Pixel 2 XL, in case you forgot. And I really missed the squeeze on the sidebars to launch whatever. That was really cool. And I was really glad when I upgraded to the Pixel 6. I was like, oh, I'm gonna miss it. I was really glad to find the double tap function, and it's borrowed from some of the newer Apple devices. The other thing that I use a lot is YouTube Studio. This doesn't draw a lot of power, but you can see it's pretty darn quick and smooth. And also Google News. Who doesn't miss G-Reader? I really miss that one. At least this is somewhat functional and pretty smooth as well. I love the screen on this. It's good enough, 90 Hz. It's not 120, there's no bragging rights, but it's nice and colorful. And if you want to change the color profile, you can go to settings. And if you want it to be a little bit more saturated, like a Samsung phone, you can go for it. This is the natural, balanced one. But yeah, I really like how smooth this thing is. And battery life, it'll last me like a day and a half regular use. I can go on a trip and be fine. But with my usage, like since I take a lot of photos and videos and pair with a lot of earbuds and headphones and things like that, it will still last me past a day, which is pretty darn impressive. And definitely I can't say the same thing about even a brand new Pixel 2 XL. The other thing I wanted to show you that I've showed in the past is the fingerprint sensor. This thing is fast enough. See, it's done right there. It's not, you know, lightning speed or anything like that, but it is quick enough. I can do it again and it is done. And this has a glass protector, so better than mine. It's pretty darn impressive all by itself. I'll do it again. Boom, done. Hoo-yah! You know, say what you want to say. I think the design is unique and really makes it stand out. And sure, it's a candy bar shaped phone, which makes it difficult inherently to stand out from the crowd, but the color splash at the top right here and the camera visor still make it special. And I also definitely prefer the easier to grip slab sides on the regular 6 over the slipperier rounded edges of the Pro. The fact that you can pick up this camera and take great photos like 95% of the time is really darn awesome. It's really the kind of camera that you can rely on over and over again to take good to amazing shots day or night that are focused, well exposed, well saturated with just the right amount of HDR processing. I'm looking at you, Samsung. And on top of that, let's not forget the AI smarts that Tensor and Google bring to the photography and videography post-processing table. Thanks to the plentiful 8GB of fast DDR5 RAM, as well as the in-house developed Tensor chipset, the Pixel 6 is one smooth operator, even though it may not win benchmark contests very much. It ebbs and flows when it needs to, it bobs and weaves when it has to, just as Android should. And by the way, if you want even quicker animation transitions, here's a little tip. Just head on to developer settings and then set the animation and duration scales to 0.5 times, or at least that's what I set it to, and you'll thank me later. Now, on the flip side, there are a few aspects of Google's decision making for the phone that I'm not too hot about. So here they are. Now, even though my unit hasn't been hit by high-level technical issues, as we mentioned earlier, either inherently or through firmware updates, we have to address the fact that yes, sales and general acceptance of the Pixel 6 series have been marred by update issues as well as scheduling. And it really bugs me that Google is still playing catch up with rolling out fixes up to this point, and that the users have unfortunately become conditioned with paranoia, like we're scared stiff of whether to update our devices the moment the update drops or to hold back and see what happens. Now, I have to say though that lately the pace out of Mountain View has gone a whole lot better, but for now at least, each version release is still met with some trepidation. And who can blame us, right? As I mentioned earlier, I love the design language on this thing. However, I do wish this was a little bit less slippery, like no glass on the back would have been nice, maybe a little bit smaller too. Or if Google just had to keep the tall screen, then something like a 21:9 ratio would have been ideal, because really, many of us would like a phone that fits neatly in our palm or where our thumbs can reach both ends of the or edges of the screen. You know what I'm talking about, right? And the other thing is weight, or rather weight distribution. I wouldn't mind the 207 grams as much if the phone wasn't so top heavy like it was modeled after Kronk.
This is my variation of double dutch on the signal. We switch places.
Kronk, it's time.
Okay.
Video stabilization and outright quality is a night and day difference with the new hardware and software, but noise in shadows and low light areas is still a mess, I have to admit. So come on Google, surely there is something you can do about this? I thought this has the latest Gorilla Glass 6, so why am I suddenly seeing hairline scratches on my screen? And before you say anything, I do baby my devices like crazy, guys, and besides resting on a table or flat surface face up, I usually carry this around in a case in my back pocket with nothing else in it, mind you, or attached magnetically to my car mount, and that's it. And yet, I started seeing really small horizontal lines across the screen right here. They're really faint, mind you, but in the right light, you can definitely see them. And I don't get it because the phone has never come into contact with keys or coins or whatever, so I'm not sure where the scratches are coming from. And here's a little anecdote. There was this guy I met on the plane the other day down to New York. You know who you are, Fish fan. And he said he had the same thing with his 6. So this week, I gave in and slapped a protective glass on it. So in short, the Pixel 6 is finally growing up 6 months later. And sure, there are areas of improvement, but with better updates and feature drops over the coming months, backed with solid hardware and AI, the 6 is still a fantastic buy, yo. And if you want to see what I think about this phone dollar for dollar against the newer Samsung A53 5G, do tune in next week. Well, there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this, and I hope you come back next week for the latest video and check out the rest of my channel. Remember to subscribe if you can and show your support. Thank you, by the way, for getting me to 15,000 subs. I'm so glad we're here. And next, we're trying to hit 25. And so please subscribe and tell your friends and family about it. Thumbs up if you like this video and comment nicely down below. And remember to do something loving and kind for somebody in this world, because guess what? The world needs it more than ever, and it starts with you. I love y'all very much. Peace out and God bless. Whoosh.